Hi, Lee here. I'm going to be talking about some stuff. This is going to be not planned as far as I don't have a script. I'm going to be talking according to whatever it is that I can think of at the moment. But the idea is that I did a short where I gave like an introduction saying, would you be interested in a video where I talk about stuff that's going on with me? Pretty much. And so this is going to be that video. It's not going to be where I talk about, okay, now I woke up and I did this and I did that. It's going to be more about my opinions about when I deal with people who they may have a certain opinion of me, not people on YouTube or people on Facebook, but people in my regular life. The idea is, now, if, like, let's say for instance, I want to go somewhere or I want to do something, and then there may be people who might say, well, what are you going to wear to that event? Well, if let's say the person who asked me that was really good in fashion and I really thought they were quite attractive and their opinion meant a lot to me, that would be one thing. But if it's just a regular person like a relative or a regular friend, and the way they say it, they go, oh, you going there? Well, what are you going to wear? And they give like this sort of skeptical sort of attitude about it, then I think to myself, well, I'm not going to say this, but it will be like, well, I'm going to wear what I want to wear. That's my attitude. But, I mean, of course I will know what to wear. But if I say that to them, they might go, well, you're being defensive. And I'm thinking, I'm just being clear. So that's the thing. If you find, or if anybody finds that if you have a certain opinion or a certain attitude about something, and you find that you're comfortable with who you are and whatever it is that you're doing, and then someone else sees it differently, how do you go about letting them know that you're you, they're not you? That's sort of the thing that I deal with. When it comes to YouTube comments, that's fine. You know, people can say whatever they want. I mean, I might be bothered by something someone says or not, but if I'm putting something out there and I'm asking a question and people answer it, I shouldn't be upset about it. That's one thing. That's YouTube. That's me giving a video and then people commenting on it. But in real life, if I'm wanting to do something and then I have a friend who feels like they need to butt in and tell me, hey, what you are doing is not right, or like if I'm talking and they go, lower your voice, that's one thing that I don't like to hear. It's like, I'm not shouting, I'm only talking regular, or something like if they say, shut up. And I go, what? And they go, what do you mean, what? I go, well, why did you say shut up? Why didn't you just say quiet? Or, in other words, if I mention to someone how I feel about how they're telling me something, shouldn't that be my right? I mean, they're the ones who feel they need to tell me. Or if someone says, I want to ask you a question, and then they ask me the question, and then when I answer their question, they say, why do you say that? And I'm like, I'm answering your question. Or if I get phone calls late at night, and I'm like, I really don't like to talk on the phone, and then they say, that's rude when you say that. It's like, well, I'm only letting you know that I don't like to talk a lot on the phone, but especially late at night. Or whatever the case may be. It's the idea that their attitude is good, according to them, because it's them thinking it. But if I have that attitude, then it's wrong. So that's what I'm trying to say. It's the difference between how someone can think about themselves and how they think about someone else. I'll mention this as something, just as a quick example of something. I, long ago, was walking down the street, and a guy with long hair and a big beard and mustache saw me, and he nodded and waved. Friendly, nothing wrong with it. He seemed like a cool guy, but I thought, why is a guy who's with long hair and a big beard and mustache thinking I will be, the guy for him to respond to? But when I went home, I saw myself in the mirror, and I had the exact same kind of long hair and big beard and mustache. It's just that mentally, maybe I thought of myself as clean shaven, even though I wasn't. But that was a judgment that I made because of my mentality. I had nothing against the guy. I'm just saying, at that time, I was only wondering, why would someone who looked like him want to be, acknowledging me when I look the exact same way? But I wasn't thinking about how I looked. I was only thinking about my inside. And maybe that was the same thing with him. Maybe he was just thinking I was a cool guy, So, of course, if I were to see him again now, and this is a long time ago, I would have no problem with it. But I'm just saying, it was just a quick reaction. I mean, of course, I waved and I was friendly with him, and he was cool. But in my mind, I was only thinking about what was in my mind, and not about my physical appearance. And I mean this as an example of when people think about stuff, they only think about sometimes what they're about. And they're not thinking about whether or not someone else relates or whether or not someone else doesn't relate. They're only thinking their opinion or their attitude is correct. So the example that I gave was only to say that I've been there in the past. But now I would like to hope that I've improved. I don't know if I have, but yeah. The idea is like with people in the corporate world too. People who, if I have to do certain particular work or do something specific that's a legal thing, sign your name on the dotted line, do this and that, and I have to do it. Those are all legalities that were put into place because someone voted on something and something became law. There is no tree where you can pick a leaf and that's the law tree that tells you what you need to do. Laws are always based upon unanimous or close to unanimous opinions saying that is correct. It is all mental construct, thoughts about what's correct and incorrect. If I walk down the street and I go 1 inch to the left and someone says that's wrong, that's only based upon their idea of what the exact way I need to walk is. It's not based upon anything physical. I can walk wherever I want, and there's no physicality saying that that's wrong. It's only strictly someone's mentality saying whether it's right or wrong. So it's been maybe a lot more philosophical than I meant for it to be, but I have to be that way because that's how I feel. So have you ever gone through stuff where you're like, you feel that within yourself you're right about whatever it is that you're right about? And it doesn't necessarily mean that someone else has to be right or wrong, but it just means that's how you feel, but someone else is countering it by saying, no, that's not correct. You can either think, oh, okay, they know better, and I thank them for their input. Or you can think, this is someone else who is not understanding how everybody has their own different opinions. And this person is now thinking that they're correct when the truth is nobody's either correct or incorrect. Everybody has their own way of looking at things, and someone can either be understanding or not understanding. So that's the general point that I want to make to sum this all up. We all have our own opinions, and we all either can or not disagree or agree, but there is no right or wrong in the long run. It's only a matter of, does someone understand or not understand? Okay, thank you.